Hi guys, welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Reads. I'm Anne and I read. So here I am. It is about halfway through February, so it is naturally time to talk about March, which is middle grade March. I know there's a lot of different things happening in March. I know there's March of the Mammoths and March Mystery Madness, and I think there's an Irish readathon, and I just heard about a backlist readathon as well. There's a lot of options, and I know some people try and do it all, and I applaud you and admire you for that. I like to try and do it all, but I'm not going to. I am just going to focus on middle grade March this year and read lots of middle grade. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm only going to read middle grade, but most likely the vast majority of what I read will be middle grade. And yeah, I'm excited. I've kind of been hoarding some middle grade books for the last few months, and I am ready to dive into them. So when the announcement came out just over a week ago, I immediately pulled all, not even quite all of the middle grade off my shelves, but everything that was kind of appealing to me at the moment. And I was really excited. I had about 35 books. I'm like, oh, sweet. I won't even need to go to the library. There's nothing else I need. I have enough books for the whole month. And right after that, I, of course, put 15 books on hold at the library and ordered a few from Amazon. So I currently have around 15 books. I currently have around 50 books on my potential TBR. Obviously, I'm not going to read 50 books this month unless something bizarre happens, like I get quarantined for the month and can just sit and read 2 to 3 books a day, which would not be the worst thing to ever happen to me. But most likely that's not going to happen. I'm not expecting that to happen. So I currently have about 50 books on my radar for the month. And I know over the next week, as everyone else is coming out with their TBRs, that number's probably going to double with books that I'm interested in reading in the month of March. So I'm just going to show you what I currently have on the stack, and who knows what I'll get to. I may not pick up any of these books. I may decide to go a totally different route. But here is what's currently on my potential TBR for middle grade March. I'm going to start with a couple rereads that I would like to get to. The first being James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. This was my favorite Roald Dahl growing up. I read a lot of Roald Dahl, and this was and is my favorite. And it's been several years since I've read it. I've been wanting to reread it for the last year, and I just haven't. And this, I think, is a great time. This, I think, is what I'm going to use for the prompt, the movie adaptation prompt, because there's a movie that I only saw once, and it's on Disney+. So, yay, I can watch that again. Also, speaking of adaptations, I would like to reread Artemis Fowl. Again, I read this several years ago, and the movie is coming out in May, I think. So I would like to reread the first book in the series before the movie comes out. And then another book I would like to reread, or actually a whole series I would like to reread, is the Enola Holmes series by Nancy Springer. This is the first one. You can see the others are behind me right here. There's 6 of them total, and this is a pretty straight-up mystery series. So if you need a book for the mystery prompt, I highly recommend this. This is one of the best mysteries I've ever read. Not even just middle grade, like overall. This is a fantastic series that follows, like I said, Enola Holmes, who's the kid sister of Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes. It's an incredibly well-done mystery that's not overly juvenile. It's still appropriate for kids, obviously. It's middle grade, but it works just as well for adults. Everyone I've given this book to has just loved it and has read the series, and in a lot of cases reread the series. This is my 3rd or 4th time reading the series, so I'd love to get to the whole series this month. That probably won't happen, but I'll get to at least 1 or 2 of them. And I'm just going to wait here a minute while you go put this on hold at your library, or at least go over to Goodreads and mark it as want to read so you don't forget about it. So go do that, seriously. Or just go ahead and go to Amazon and do the one-click purchase and pick this up, because it's worth it. If there's one book you should read this middle grade March, it's this one. Okay, did you do that? Did you get that taken care of? All right, good job. All right, then let's pull some more from the stack here. Those were the rereads. Here's some other things that I think would all fit into that mystery category. The first is Murder is Bad Manners by Robin Stevens. This follows 2 girls, I think, set at a boarding school, and has a mystery. So, and this is the first in a series, I think. I have The Stranger by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This is also the first in a series of the Greystone Secrets. I think this has to do with kidnapping and I think like puzzles and clues and deciphering riddles type things, which I love that type of thing. I have The Gallery by Laura Marx Fitzgerald. Again, I think this falls into the mystery adventure category. Something is afoot at the Sewell Mansion. 12-year-old Martha, the new kitchen maid, is going to find out what it is. I have Winterhouse by Ben Guterson, which again I think is a pretty straight up mystery. A lavish hotel, a family secret, a book of puzzles, and a veil of magic. Again, I love mysteries that have like puzzles involved. So hoping to pick up that one. I have 2 books in the Adventure series by Enid Blyton. I have The Castle of Adventure and The Valley of Adventure. These are books 2 and 3. The first one is The Island of Adventure, and I read that last summer. And these are just classic, like 40s middle grade fantasy story, or not fantasy, adventure stories, excuse me, about these kids, this group of friends, and the adventures they have. I have The Girl from Felony Bay by J.E. Thompson. I know nothing about this, and I honestly don't even know why I have it. I think it's set in the South. It doesn't say that, but it mentions alligators and plantations. So we're going to go with it set in the South. And yeah, I know nothing about it. Oh, you know why? You know why I picked this up, actually? I think the cover art is Brett Hellquist. Yeah, Brett Hellquist. That's probably why, because I like his illustrations. He does a lot of things, but he's the one who did the original illustrations for Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. So that's probably why I picked this up, was literally the cover art. And then I have one more that's the first in a series. This is York by Laura Ruby. This, I think, is kind of an alternate history, New York, steampunk mystery. Again, puzzles, ciphers, that type of thing. Okay, we're moving into some fantasy, middle grade fantasy. Another of my favorite middle grade genres. I read a lot growing up. I read a lot of mysteries, fantasy, and historical fiction in my kids' books, and which is pretty much what I still read in my adult books, so that hasn't changed a whole lot. I have The Glass Town Game by Catherynne and Valente. This is a middle grade that follows the 4 Bronte siblings on some sort of fantastical adventure, and this cover is amazing. I have The Book of Secrets and The Book of Answers by A.L. Tait. I know nothing about these. I think this is kind of a medieval style fantasy. An orphan in exile, a band of rebel girls, a prince whose throne has been stolen, come on a journey full of danger, intrigue, adventure, and incredible secrets. So there you go. I have book 2 in the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mull. This is Rise of the Evening Star. I read the first Fablehaven book a couple years ago and liked it. I think I found it at Goodwill. I think I found this one at Goodwill too. So it's been sitting on there on my shelf. I just haven't read it. So book 2 in that series. I have books 1 and 2 in the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. This is the book of 3 and The Black Cauldron. I think technically this is a reread because I think I read these when I was little, but I have absolutely no memory of them. So those will be fun, and again, if I get to both of them, The Black Cauldron could be used for adaptation prompt. This is another book, I have no idea where it came from or why I have it, but it's Sabrina and the Sky Jumper by Stan Jensen. Looks kind of interesting, kind of fantastical, kind of fairy tale-esque, maybe. Daughter of a woodsman, is at home among the forest animals. That sounds very fairy tale-esque. It's super short, so yeah, maybe that one. I have Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes by Jonathan Auxier. I've actually never read anything by Jonathan Auxier, although I have his other books in the piles here somewhere. And this is about an orphan, I believe, a blind orphan, who's also a thief, and then he finds magical eyes. Sounds amazing. I have The Emperor's Ostrich by Julie Berry. This, again, is a fantastical story about a girl, a dairymaid, who is looking for her missing cow, whose name is Alfalfa, and something about a magical map. So, and there's an ostrich on the cover. So, you know, that's a win. I also have this bind-up of part of the Wizard of Oz series by L. Frank Baum. This is books 7, 8, and 9, which is The Patchwork Girl of Oz, TikTok of Oz, and The Scarecrow of Oz. I had a friend give me this beautiful set a couple years ago, and I read the first 2 bind-ups and then got distracted. So this is the 3rd bind-up, again, that contains books 7, 8, and 9 in the series. All right, we're still going. I mentioned Jonathan Auxier already. I have Sweep, The Story of a Girl and Her Monster. This was last year's group pick, and I didn't get to it, so this is definitely like high on the priority list for this year. I have Cartwheeling in Thunderstorms by Catherynne Rundell. I know nothing about this other than the cover's really pretty. I think I picked it up from Book Outlet. Someone mentioned it. I have no idea who. I can't remember. But I think it's about someone that was raised in Africa and then is sent to England to a boarding school. Sounds interesting. I have Walking with Miss Millie by Tamara Bundy. This was an impulse buy as well from Book Outlet, I think. And I think this is another one that's kind of set in the South and deals with kind of racial politics there. I have The Good Master and the Singing Tree by Kate Sarady. These are both Newbery Honor books from the 30s, 40s? 30s, it looks like. And I believe these are set in Hungary. Someone told me once upon a time that it's like Little House on the Prairie, but set in Hungary. So, yeah, and they're both pretty short. So if you're looking for set in a different country, there you go. I have Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor. A few different people have been talking about this one, mostly Amanda over at the Curly Reader, and it sounds really interesting. Again, I love some good historical fiction. And I think this is epistolary, so it's told in letters, which is also something I love. So I'm looking forward to getting that one. Getting to that one, I should say. I have a couple classics here that I'd kind of like to get to. I have Roger Lancelin Green's The Adventures of Robin Hood, as well as his Tales of Greek Heroes. So, yeah, there's those. I have Heidi, which I have never read, which really saddens me. So, again, set in a different country, and there's a movie adaptation, although I suspect it's not super accurate to the book, but I don't know, because I've never read the book, so we'll find out. I also have Louisa May Alcott's 8 Cousins, if you're participating in Louisa May 2020. This 8 Cousins is what they're reading in March, which is fantastic, because it works great for middle grade March. Again, I think technically this is a reread, because I'm pretty sure I read this as a kid, but I don't remember it. I have this cool edition that I got at a library book sale. It's orange with the blue on the cover. I also have the matching, you can barely see it there, the matching one of Rose in Bloom, which is the sequel to this. All right, and then I have 2 books by Claire Vanderpool, which is an author I've been curious to try. This is Navigating Early and Moon Over Manifest, both of which I've heard great things about. They're kind of coming-of-age stories, I believe. So that's what I had on my shelves already. Then I went to the library. So now I'm going to show you the books I have from the library that I will hopefully also get to during middle grade March. Most of these I know almost nothing about. I have The Lost Track of Time by Paige Britt. Let me switch sides. Here we go. This, I think, is kind of a fantastical something. It has to do with time. I don't know if it has to do with time travel. I get kind of, oh, what's that book? Has a blue cover. You know, the one with the blue cover. With the watchdog. It has the watchdog. The Phantom Tollbooth. I get Phantom Tollbooth vibes from this. So we'll see about that one. This is A Ship of Dolls by Shirley Parenteau. This is historical fiction that I heard about somewhere. And I've really been into reading historical fiction that tells me about things I don't know about, events that I'm unfamiliar with. And this is set in Portland, Oregon, which I'm from Oregon. And it talks about this event that happened in 1926. There was a friendship doll exchange organized in which American children sent more than 12,000 dolls to Japan in hopes of avoiding a future war. So that sounds super interesting. I would definitely like to hear more about that. So I'm hoping to get to this one this month, or in March, I should say. I have Small Spaces by Catherynne Arden. This one, I think I also heard about this one from Amanda, Curly Reader. I don't know much about it, but there we go. I have Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. Krista has been talking about this one. She just read it recently, and it's got a beautiful cover, and it sounds really interesting, so I picked up that one. I have Pax by Sarah Pennypacker, which is about a fox. That's all I know. I also have another book by Sarah Pennypacker, her brand new one, which I can't think of the name right now, but I'll put a picture up. I have that one on order, so it should be here by March, for sure. But it's this one here. Then I have another Jonathan Auxier, The Night Gardener, which I've heard is a little darker and slightly creepier than his other ones. So that sounds promising. I have Nooks and Crannies by Jessica Lawson. I think this has to do with... This is a mystery, again, I think. Has to do with a country estate and this group of children trying to solve a mystery. I don't know. Looks interesting. I have Detectives in Togas by Henry Winterfeld. A friend of mine actually was reading this with her kids not that long ago and recommended it because she thought the humor in it was very funny. She and I took some ancient history classes in college, and so she was finding some of the info and the kind of the jokes about ancient Rome. She was finding it entertaining. So she recommended it. So I thought I would pick that one up. It might be a fun, something light to do this month. I have The Diamond in the Window by Jane Langton. This, first of all, I love this old school cover. It's orange and this really ugly green, but this house is amazing. And I don't know, I love how old school this cover is. It just really appeals to me. This is the first in a series, and I think it's written in the 50s. But the reason I picked it up is because one of the later books in the series, I believe, has to do with time travel. And 1962. And I do love a good book about time travel. But I wanted to start at the beginning of the series. And so this is the first one, Diamond in the Window. And again, I think it's kind of a classic mystery adventure type book. The Forbidden Library by Django Wexler, which has to do with, libraries and forbidden libraries. So that's going to be a win for sure. I have another book about libraries, The Library of Ever by Zeno Alexander. This, I think, is more like a sci-fi, kind of futuristic library type deal. But love books about libraries. We're almost done, just a couple more. I have Finding Serendipity by Angelica Banks. First of all, again, amazing cover. Cute dog. And this one, again, I think has to do with the kid solving a mystery and finding a missing person. Maybe a missing mother? No, a missing author. Oh, which is her mother. Yes, missing mother. Okay, so there we go, and this one's pretty short. And then the last one I have out from the library currently, at least, is The Dreamer by Pam Munoz Ryan. She wrote Echo, which was one of my favorite books of 2018. So I wanted to pick up this one and give this a try too. This one's kind of thick, but you can see there's very little, well, there's like almost no writing on that page, but the writing is very big, print is very big. And this one, I believe, is set in Chile, and it has some magical realism elements to it. So again, if you need something for another country, good choice. So that is it. Those are the books I currently have in my possession that I would like to get to during middle grade March. Again, I will not get to all of them, but we'll see what I do get to. And again, I'll probably end up pulling other things out too that other people recommend. So that's it. But good luck with your middle grade March. Let me know what you're reading below, or if you have thoughts on any of these that I should or shouldn't read or make priority maybe. But yeah, that's it. I will be checking in throughout the month to let you know how the reading is going, of course. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.